Hi, Jamie Davis here from the Nursing Show at NTI 2015 in San Diego. We're talking everything critical care, and sometimes critical care means you have to take the patient from point A to point B via some sort of transport mechanism, in this case, flight nursing. And I'm great and excited to be talking to Joe Falise here. Joe, thanks for coming on the show. Why don't you tell us a little bit about why you wanted to become a nurse?
Okay, so I wanted to become a nurse because I really wanted to make a difference. I wanted to help other people. I wanted to follow in my mother's footsteps and really just, make a difference and give back to however I can.
So you're a critical care nurse now, full-time, and tell us a little bit about your progression to becoming a critical care nurse. Was that something you started and wanted to do right out of school?
Yeah, became a critical care nurse right out of school. Did my training in an open heart unit. 20 years later, I'm still in ICU, and I enjoy every day.
So what got you started on the path of doing some part-time flight nursing?
A lot of it was just timing. I knew that I wanted to do flight nursing from early in my career. Reality, I had a couple of children, and they demanded my time. So once they grew up and went off to college, I was looking for other avenues to explore my nursing career.
What's it take to be a flight nurse? Does it require anything special? Do you have to be an ICU nurse to be a flight nurse?
It's not absolutely essential, depending on the patient that you're transporting. Certainly, it does help. For the most part, you are transporting critically ill patients. And then once you become a flight nurse, there are a couple of classes that are required. There is an aviation, it's an altitude physiology class, as well as some more advanced ventilator modes and some hemodynamic assessments that have to do with altitude. But for the most part, my critical care at the bedside training is what gave me the best training.
So what's the typical patient for you? And you travel in fixed wing aircraft. That's standard airplanes for those of us that don't know the difference between fixed and rotary wing. Rotary wing is a helicopter.
True.
Fixed wing is an airplane or a jet. Yep. So what does your typical patient in a fixed wing environment look like?
Typical patients can actually vary from relatively stable hemodynamics, relatively easy pain control. Sometimes we'll transport stable stroke patients, respiratory distress patients, and it can go anywhere up to and including, critically ill, on a ventilator, on multiple drips, blood pressures that are mildly unstable. Important to know, though, that we're transporting hospital to hospital. So for the most part, these patients have been in a hospital for a number of hours to maybe even a day or 2 days prior to us getting there. So in a fixed wing critical care, emergency type of scenario, we are really just transporting critical care to critical care units.
And you're really looking at mostly international patients, or at least Americans traveling internationally.
Yeah, so we do some domestic work as well, but for the most part, our company and the services that we provide go international. Geographically, I work in the South Florida area, so we go a lot to the Caribbean, a lot to Central and South America.
Now, do you have to know anything about the plane itself to be working in this setting? Do you have to know how to fly the plane or anything like that?
No, we don't have to know how to fly the plane. We do learn a little bit about, the markings on the runways and a little bit about, the inside of the airplane. Obviously, all of the emergency stuff, how to the oxygen masks and the how to open the door in an emergency, and so the typical emergency stuff that they train you on the commercial flights. But as far as anything in the cockpit, no, we don't have to know any of that.
So what would you give as a piece of advice to that nurse that's saying, hey, I might want to work in flight transport nursing?
What I would tell that nurse is to become very confident in your skills. Understand that you are going to be completely autonomous up in the air. We do have a medical director that works with us, but clearly they're not in the air ambulance with us. And to understand that patient is your patient, and you have to be confident in your skills and know that when you react or when you treat the patient a certain way, you're doing that in the patient's best interest.
Well, Joe, thanks for sitting here and chatting with me. I know you've got a lot going on here at this conference. There's so many things to see here at NTI. Anything leap out at you as far as educational sessions or things like that you've seen so far?
Yeah, clearly the 3-hour session that I did with the sepsis team and the service response team was so far for me the most memorable. It was a exhilarating class, very interactive and extremely fun.
Well, great, Joe. Thanks for chatting with me.
Thank you very much.
And I want to thank all of you for checking out this segment here from NTI 2015 in San Diego, talking about critical care. I'm Jamie Davis from The Nursing Show. Check out more segments like this over at NursingShow.com. A special thank you to Physio Control for sponsoring this and all the segments here at NTI 2015. You know, Physio Control is innovating in patient care in many ways, including the ways that they provide mechanical CPR with devices like the Lucas. Also, in the research and resuscitation symposia they are presenting around the country. So look for a resuscitation symposium coming to a community near you where you can find out how to improve resuscitation rates in your hospital setting. All of that coming to you thanks to the folks at Physio Control. And again, check out all of the information about their amazing products over at physio-control.com.